In this video, we're going to multiply polynomials. So we're going to simplify each expression. For this, we have a number right outside the parentheses, so we have to distribute. Multiply what's outside by everything inside the parentheses. So this is called a monomial multiplied by a binomial. It's a monomial because there's only one term, binomial because there's two terms. So we have 2 times 5x plus 2 times 3. Okay, so now we just have to simplify. 2 times 5x gives us 10x plus 2 times 3 is 6. And that's as simple as we can get because remember you cannot combine them unless they're like terms. So we leave our answer as 10x plus 6. All right, same thing over here. You have a number right outside the parentheses, so you're going to multiply it by everything inside the parenthesis. Okay, but it's not just a number this time, it's a number and a variable. So we're going to do 3c times 2c squared. Bring down that minus in between. There's a 3c outside times 1. All right, so now we have to think about how we multiply variables. So we start with just multiplying the numbers. We have 3 times 2 leaves us with 6. Now we have to deal with the variable part. Okay, we have c times c squared. Well, remember c is the same thing as c to the power of 1. So we're looking at exponents. When you multiply and bases are the same, you add the exponents. So we have c to the power of 1 plus 2 is 3. So 6c to the power of 3 or 6c cubed. Okay, and remember this does mean that 6 and c are multiplied together, or the c cube are multiplied together. We don't have to put that multiplication between them though. All right, bring down the minus. 3c times 1 is 3c, and that is as simple as we can get because if they don't have the same exponents on the variables, they are not like terms, so you can't combine them. All right, so we're going to get a little more complicated. So we have now 2 polynomials, so 2 binomials, because they each have 2 terms in them. We're going to multiply them using the FOIL method, which is also like distributing. Okay, so FOIL means first, O is outside, I inside, and L is last. So what that means is multiply the first 2 terms in each parenthesis together, then multiply the outside terms, and so we'd have the 4y times the 5, so the 2 on the outside, then the 2 on the inside, and then multiply the last term in each parenthesis together. Okay, so it's called FOIL, but it's basically you're just distributing. Start by taking that first term inside the first parenthesis, distribute it and multiply it by each term in the second parenthesis. And then you take that second term in the first parenthesis and distribute it by multiplying it by each term in that second parenthesis. Okay, so I'm just going to write out the steps so you can see it as we go. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. All right, so we have a 4y multiplied by 3y. That's the same thing as the first terms in each parenthesis. All right, now I have a 4y. I'm going to put a plus in between because plus can also always separate our terms. We have a 4y, and it is positive, so that plus goes along with it, times -5. And I like to just keep that minus in front of the 5 and treat it as -5. All right, so that's the same thing as the 2 outside terms, or it's just distributing that first term in the parentheses. So now we're going to do the second term in the first parenthesis, distribute it. We have this positive 2, so plus 2 times 3y plus, now we have to do the 2 times the negative 5. Okay, so I do like to just treat it as distributing, but it's also just FOIL. It's the exact same thing. So now we're just going to combine the terms. So we have 4y times 3y. 4 times 3 is 12, and y times y is y squared. Or you can think of each of these y's is raised to the first power, and when you're multiplying bases that are the same, you just add the exponents. All right, plus 4y times negative 5 gives us negative 20y. Plus 2 times 3y, 6y. Plus 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. All right, you have to combine the like terms before you can move on. All right, in this case, we have a negative 20y plus 6y. And since I want this to be my last line that I write out, I do want to make sure that I have it in the correct order. Remember, when you're writing your polynomial, it should have the largest degree to the smallest degree. Well, our largest degree is the 12y squared, largest exponent. All right, so now let's combine. Negative 20y plus 6y leaves us with negative 14y, which I'm going to write as minus 14y. Bring down that plus negative 10. I'm just going to simplify it, rewrite it as minus 10. And that is my answer. Again, you can't combine any of these terms. They are not like terms. They have to have the same variables, and the variables have to have the same exponents. All right, let's try another one like that. Okay, I'm going to start by multiplying, distributing that first term. So we have negative 2x times negative 4x plus negative 2x times positive 3 plus, now I have to distribute that second term, 7 times negative 4x plus 7 times 3. Right, then just simplify. We have to do our multiplication. So negative 2x times negative 4x is positive 8x plus negative 2x times 3 gives us negative 6x plus 7 times negative 4x leaves us with negative 28x plus 7 times 3 is 21. All right, we're at the point where we need to combine like terms. We have negative 6x and negative 28x that we can combine. All right. Oh, I see one little error that I made. So up here I didn't combine my x's. X times x gives us x squared. All right, so I'm going to bring down that 8x squared. Very important that you don't forget that because it's easy to leave it off if you don't notice it. All right, negative 6x plus negative 28x, negative 34x plus 21, and that is simplified as much as possible. All right, so those are multiplying binomials. Okay, so just getting one step harder, we're going to multiply a binomial by a trinomial. So 2 terms times 3-term polynomial. All right, you're going to do the exact same thing. We're just going to distribute. So I'm going to start with this first term, distribute it, multiply it by all the terms in that second set of parentheses. So we have 2a times a squared plus 2a times 3a plus 2a times 2. All right, but now we have to also distribute that second term inside the first parenthesis with everything in the second parenthesis. So we have plus 5 times a squared plus 5 times 3a plus 5 times 2. All right, I'm going to simplify. Okay, 2a times a squared. Well, we have 2, and a times a squared gives us a to the power of 3. Remember, you can just add the exponents. Plus 2a times 3a gives me 6a squared, plus 2a times 2 is 4a, plus 5 times a squared is 5a squared, plus 5 times 3a is 15a, plus 5 times 2 is 10. All right, now combining like terms. We have 6a squared that we can combine with 5a squared, but we also have 4a that can be combined with 15a. All right, so I'm going to start with my largest degree, 2a cubed. Then we have 6a squared plus 5a squared leaves us with positive 11a squared, so I put a plus because it's positive. Then we have 4a plus 15a is 19a, and because that's positive, I'm putting a plus 19a. And lastly, we have plus 10. And that is our answer. All right, over here, kind of ran my last problem into this problem. So, just going to make sure I don't confuse the two problems. All right, distribute that first term in the first parenthesis with everything in the second parenthesis. This one has a lot of minus in it, so be very careful with that. Pay attention to each subtraction sign. So we have x times 5x squared plus x times negative x plus x times negative 9. Again, paying attention to those minuses. I'm treating them as negatives. All right, now plus negative 3 times 5x squared plus negative 3 times negative x plus negative 3 times negative 9. And I barely had enough room for that last one. Zoom in just so you can see it. There we go. All right, simplify. X times 5x squared. Remember, I can put this x to the power of 1. So we have 5x cubed. Because remember, multiplying bases add the exponents if the bases are the same. Plus x times negative x leaves me with negative x squared. Again, positive times a negative is a negative, and then x times x is x squared. Plus x times negative 9, negative 9x, plus negative 3 times 5x squared is negative 15x squared, plus negative 3 times negative x is positive 3x, plus negative 3 times negative 9 leaves me with positive 27. All right, I'm going to combine like terms. I only have one x cubed, so I don't have anything to combine it with. But now we have a negative x squared, which is the same thing as negative 1x squared. And we have a negative 15x squared. We also have a negative 9x that can be combined with a positive 3x. So bring down the 5x cubed. All right, let's go for the x squared terms. Negative 1x squared minus 15x squared is negative 16x squared. We have a negative 9x plus 3x is negative 6x. Bring down the plus 27. That is our answer. All right, so I'm going to have you try some similar problems on your own. Go ahead and try these 6 problems and come on back when you're ready for the answers. All right, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing when I go through the answers with you. Okay, so we have 4 times 2x, 8x, plus 4 times 6 is 24. And again, if you want to write out that middle step, go ahead and do it, especially if it helps you out. Negative 2y times negative 3y. Negative 2 times negative 3 is 6, and y times y is y squared. Negative 2y times negative 4 Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. And we have just the y, so 8y. All right, next. We have 2p times 5p, leaves us with 10p squared. 2p times 6 is plus 12p. 4 times 5p is plus 20p. And 4 times 6 plus 24. All right, I have to combine like terms. So I have a 12p plus 20p, leaves me with 10p to the second, plus 32p plus 24. All right, then we have negative 4g times negative g. Negative times a negative is a positive, and I have just the 4. G times g is g squared. Negative 4g times negative 5 leaves me with positive 20g. Negative 1 times negative g is positive g or positive 1g. I'm just going to put the 1 there since I do know I have to combine like terms. And negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5. All right, combining the like terms, I have 20g plus 1g. So here I have 4g squared plus 21g plus 5. All right, then for the trinomials. All right, we have 3x times 2x squared is 6x cubed. 3x times 4x plus 12x squared. 3x times 1 plus 3x. 2 times 2x squared plus 4x squared. 2 times 4x is plus 8x. And 2 times 1 is plus 2. All right, combining the like terms, we have 12x squared, 4x squared that could be combined. We also have 3x and 8x. All right, so that looks like 6x cubed. 12x squared plus 4x squared is plus 16x squared. 3x plus 8x plus 11x plus 2. And that's our answer. Again, you can only combine if they're like terms. Last one. 3y times negative 2y squared is negative 6y to the third. 3y times 4y plus 12y squared. 3y times negative 2 is minus 6y. Negative 3 times negative 2y squared is plus 6y squared. Then we have negative 3 times 4y is negative 12y. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. All right, combining the like terms, we have a 12x squared and a 6x squared. Then we have a negative 6y and a negative 12y. So when we combine negative 6y cubed, 12y squared plus 6y squared is plus 18y squared. Negative 6y minus 12y, negative 18y plus 6 is our answer. All right, hopefully you were able to multiply all the polynomials.